and a few hours later, looked down at your stomach and wondered, why am I suddenly so bloated? Maybe your stomach feels tight. Maybe your clothes suddenly feel uncomfortable. Or perhaps you wake up with a relatively flat stomach. But by evening, your abdomen looks completely different. If this happens to you regularly, you're definitely not alone. And here's something important. Bloating doesn't always mean you've eaten too much. Sometimes it's caused by gas. Sometimes it's constipation. Sometimes it's the way you're eating, the foods you're eating, or even fizzy drinks. For some people, certain foods may trigger bloating because their digestive system has difficulty handling them. And sometimes, frequent or persistent bloating can be a sign that something else needs attention. So today, we're going beyond the usual advice to just drink water. We're going to look at why your stomach gets bloated, what may be triggering it, simple things you can do to reduce everyday bloating, and most importantly, when bloating is something you shouldn't ignore, because understanding what's happening inside your body is the first step toward taking better care of it. This is HealthTips. Let's talk about bloating. Before we talk about the causes, let's first understand what bloating actually means. Bloating is the feeling of fullness, pressure, or swelling in your abdomen. Your stomach may feel tight or uncomfortable, and sometimes your abdomen may actually look larger than usual. And here's something interesting. Bloating and gas are related, but they're not exactly the same thing. Gas is naturally produced in your digestive system. It can come from the air you swallow while eating and drinking, as well as from bacteria in your large intestine breaking down certain carbohydrates that weren't completely digested earlier. When that gas builds up, or when your digestive system isn't moving things along normally, you may experience pressure, fullness, or discomfort. But bloating doesn't always mean there's a huge amount of gas trapped inside your stomach. Your abdominal muscles, the movement of your digestive system, constipation, and even changes in how sensitive your gut is can influence how bloated you feel. That's why two people can eat the same meal and have completely different experiences afterward. One person may feel perfectly fine. Another may feel extremely uncomfortable. So if you're regularly dealing with bloating, don't immediately assume that you simply have too much gas. There can be several different reasons behind it, and one of the most common ones starts with something you do every single day: the way you eat. Eating too quickly. When you rush through a meal, you can swallow more air than you normally would. That swallowed air can travel into your digestive system and contribute to burping, gas, and that uncomfortable feeling of fullness. And it's not just about speed. Talking a lot while eating, drinking through a straw, chewing gum, sucking on hard sweets, or drinking fizzy beverages can also increase the amount of air you swallow. Imagine eating a full plate of food while you're rushing to get somewhere. You barely chew. You're talking, you're drinking a carbonated drink, and before you know it, your stomach feels tight and uncomfortable. The problem may not be that the food itself is bad. The way you're consuming it could be contributing to the problem. Try slowing down. Take smaller bites. Chew your food thoroughly. Put your spoon or fork down between bites if you need to, and give yourself enough time to actually enjoy your meal. This won't eliminate bloating for everyone, because bloating has many possible causes. But if you regularly eat very quickly, slowing down is a simple habit worth trying. Now let's talk about something many people immediately blame when they feel bloated: food. And yes, certain foods can cause bloating in some people, but there's no single bloating food that affects everyone the same way. One common group is beans and other legumes. They're nutritious and provide fiber and other nutrients, but some of their carbohydrates are fermented by bacteria in the large intestine. That fermentation can produce gas. Some vegetables, including broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, and onions, can also cause more gas in certain people. And then there are foods containing certain carbohydrates called FODMAPs. These carbohydrates aren't completely absorbed by everyone. In susceptible people, they can draw water into the intestine and be fermented by gut bacteria, potentially causing bloating, gas, abdominal pain, or changes in bowel habits. But here's the important part. These foods aren't automatically bad for you. In fact, many are extremely nutritious. The problem may be your individual tolerance, the portion you're eating, or how your digestive system handles them. That's why you shouldn't start removing entire food groups from your diet simply because someone on social media says they're bad for your stomach. Instead, pay attention to patterns. Does bloating consistently happen after a particular food? Does it happen after a large portion? Does it happen when you suddenly increase your fiber intake? Keeping track of what you eat and how you feel can sometimes help you identify a pattern. And there's another everyday habit that can make bloating even worse. Fizzy drinks. Soda, sparkling drinks, and other carbonated beverages contain dissolved carbon dioxide. When you drink them, some of that gas can enter your digestive system. For some people, this can lead to more belching, gas, and abdominal bloating. And there's another issue. Many soft drinks contain a significant amount of added sugar. Drinking them regularly can add a lot of extra calories and sugar to your diet without providing much nutritional value. So if you're someone who frequently feels bloated, try paying attention to what happens after you drink carbonated beverages. You don't necessarily have to assume that every fizzy drink will cause bloating, but if you notice a clear pattern, you drink it, and soon afterward you feel uncomfortable and bloated reducing, it may be worth trying. You can experiment by choosing plain water or another non-carbonated drink instead, and see whether you notice a difference. And don't forget about something else people often do while drinking fizzy beverages. They drink them quickly. That can mean swallowing even more air. So if your stomach often feels like a balloon after a meal, your drink might be part of the story. But what if you're not drinking fizzy drinks and you're still constantly bloated? Then we need to talk about another very common cause: constipation. Constipation isn't simply about how many times you use the toilet. Some people have bowel movements every day but still feel constipated because the stool is hard or difficult to pass. One thing that can help is getting enough fiber and fluids and staying physically active. But there's a catch. If you're currently eating very little fiber, suddenly adding a huge amount of fiber can actually make gas and bloating worse. So increase fiber gradually and give your digestive system time to adjust. Good sources include fruits, vegetables, beans, whole grains, and other plant foods. And if constipation is persistent, severe, or keeps coming back, don't simply keep treating it yourself indefinitely. It may be worth speaking with a healthcare professional to find out what's causing it, because sometimes persistent bloating isn't just about what you ate yesterday. Sometimes your digestive system may be reacting to a particular food or ingredient. Now, what if you've noticed that your bloating seems to happen after eating specific foods? That could be a clue. Some people have difficulty digesting or absorbing certain carbohydrates, and this can lead to symptoms such as bloating, gas, abdominal pain, or diarrhea. One well-known example is lactose intolerance. Lactose is the natural sugar found in milk and many dairy products. People who don't produce enough of the enzyme lactase may have difficulty digesting lactose. When undigested lactose reaches the large intestine, bacteria ferment it, which can produce gas and other digestive symptoms. And lactose isn't the only possible trigger. Some people may react to certain fermentable carbohydrates, including some foods that are otherwise very nutritious. There's also celiac disease, where eating gluten triggers an abnormal immune response that damages the small intestine. It can cause bloating and other digestive symptoms, although symptoms can vary considerably from person to person. And this is why you shouldn't simply decide gluten must be the problem, or dairy is bad for everyone. Food reactions are individual. If you consistently experience bloating, diarrhea, abdominal pain, or other symptoms after eating certain foods, it's better to discuss the pattern with a healthcare professional. Rather than eliminating large numbers of foods on your own, a doctor or dietitian can help determine whether an intolerance, allergy, celiac disease, or another digestive condition could be involved. And there's another group of people who notice bloating at a very specific time of the month, around their menstrual period. Now, if you're a woman, you may have noticed something interesting. Sometimes your stomach feels completely normal, and then a few days before your period, you suddenly feel bloated. You're not imagining it. Hormonal changes around menstruation can contribute to bloating, and changes in bowel habits. Fluctuations in hormones such as estrogen and progesterone can affect how your body handles fluids and how quickly food moves through your digestive system. As a result, some women may experience a feeling of fullness, abdominal swelling, constipation, or changes in bowel movements around their period. And this type of bloating can be temporary. It may improve once your period starts or after it ends. Simple habits may help, such as staying physically active, drinking enough fluids, eating a balanced diet, and paying attention to foods that seem to make your symptoms worse. But here's something important. Don't assume every episode of persistent bloating is just hormones. Now, occasional bloating is usually not something to panic about. You might feel bloated after a large meal, after eating certain foods, when you're constipated, or around your period. But persistent or severe bloating deserves attention. If your bloating keeps coming back without an obvious reason, is getting progressively worse, or doesn't go away, it's a good idea to speak with a healthcare professional and pay particular attention if bloating comes with other symptoms, such as unexplained weight loss, blood in your stool, persistent vomiting, severe or worsening abdominal pain, fever, or significant changes in your bowel habits. Also seek urgent medical attention if you develop severe abdominal pain with persistent vomiting, a very swollen abdomen, or you're unable to pass stool or gas. These symptoms can sometimes point to a problem that needs prompt medical assessment. If your bloating is occasional and doesn't seem to be caused by an underlying medical condition, there are some simple habits that may help. First, slow down when you eat. Take smaller bites, chew properly, and try not to rush through your meals. This can reduce the amount of air you swallow. Second, watch your portion sizes. A very large meal can leave you feeling overly full and uncomfortable, even if the foods themselves are nutritious. Third, pay attention to your trigger foods. If you repeatedly notice bloating after a particular food or drink, keep a simple food and symptom diary. Look for patterns instead of immediately eliminating everything from your diet. Fourth, stay physically active. Even gentle movement, such as walking after a meal, can support normal digestive movement. Fifth, make sure you're getting enough fluids. Adequate fluid intake is especially important if constipation is contributing to your bloating. And sixth, if you're increasing your fiber intake, do it gradually. Fiber is important for digestive health, but suddenly going from very little fiber to a very high fiber diet can increase gas and bloating in some people. So don't completely avoid healthy, high-fiber foods just because they make you feel gassy at first. Give your body time to adjust. If your bloating is persistent, severe, getting worse, or accompanied by symptoms such as unexplained weight loss, blood in your stool, persistent vomiting, fever, or severe abdominal pain, seek medical advice. Because your stomach isn't simply there to digest food. It's part of a complex system that can sometimes tell you when something needs attention. So the next time you look down and wonder, why am I so bloated? Don't panic. Don't immediately reach for a detox tea. And don't believe every health claim you see online. Instead, listen to your body. Look for patterns and get help when you need it. This is Health First. Eat wisely. Stay informed, and take care of your health. If you enjoy watching my videos, please subscribe, like, comment and share. Thanks for watching.